This is Rob Tebbutt for Boxing Social. I'm delighted to be joined by Frank Warren. We're here at Windsor Park in Belfast at the Carl Frampton Luke Jackson announcement press conference. How are you, Frank?
I'm fine, Rob. Yourself?
I'm very well, thank you. Very well. All the better for seeing you.
And same here with you.
So, we are at Windsor Park. How does it finally feel to get this over the line for Carl Frampton, fighting in his dream venue?
Well, it's been tough, but the RSFA and the Windsor Park people have been fantastic to work with. And we, as you say, we got it done and we've delivered his dream. So he's got his defence of his title here. Paddy Barnes has got a tough fight. He's challenging for a world title. And we've got Tyson Fury as an added attraction. And we've got other fights that we're announcing soon. So it's going to be a really fantastic night here on the 18th of August. It's going to be electric, this place. It's like a cockpit anyway. Can you imagine once you've got all those seats on the pitch as well? It's going to be something special.
So we were at Ellen Road a couple of weeks ago, at Windsor Park now. You're something of a fairy godmother lately, granting everybody's wishes, aren't you, Frank?
Yeah, it's all touch wood. Everything seems to be falling into place. So as I say, this is a big fight. And the important thing about this is, from Carl's perspective, he can't afford to fall over on this. He's got to win this one because obviously we want to try and get him and Josh Warrington together before the end of the year.
Tell me a little bit about how we came across Luke Jackson as an opponent. I know a long-mooted opponent, or say the dream opponent for Carl, was Leo Santa Cruz. Obviously just fought against Abner Morris, so that's not going to happen. How did you land on Luke Jackson, and what can you tell us about him as an opponent?
Well, there was a lot of guys not available, and obviously to defend his title, he's got to fight somebody out of the top 10 of the WBO, and Luke Jackson's ranked number 5, and he was the guy who was available. And I think he's probably one of the best ones in that division. So that's how we came about. You know, Luke Jackson, and I didn't notice till after we made the fight, and I looked at his amateur record. I mean, when he turned amateur, he won a Commonwealth bronze medal in the Commonwealth Games, a bronze medal within a year of turning pro. So he's a competitive guy. He's fought all around the world as an amateur. He's an undefeated fighter, and we've seen a few upsets over the last year, some serious upsets. He thinks he's coming here to be another one, a bit like his roommate when he was captain of the Aussie team in the 2012, Jeff Horn, who beat Pacquiao. He feels he can do the same thing, and he certainly won't be for the wanting to not come through. So he fancies the job. His team fancy the job. We will see on the night. Obviously, I don't want to see Carl get beat. I want to see him win because obviously we want to make this big fight with Josh.
Were there any other potential opponents? I know Scott Quigg had been calling for the fight recently. Kid Galahad, somebody else who's ranked very highly and was looking for the Carl Frampton fight. Were they ever realistic opportunities?
Kid Galahad, he had a fight, if you may recall, about a year ago. He fought with me, and then he was going to sign a contract, and he went off elsewhere with another promoter, and that was his call. So, that's it. I'm in the business of looking after my fighters. So he did what he had to do. And regarding Scott Quigg, it's just too expensive. And as Carl said, he hasn't got a problem in making the fight, but he's already beaten him.
Tyson Fury returns to action after his comeback fight against Sefer Seferi. How did that come about? How quick was it to get Tyson Fury back out? I mean, it's a quick turnaround for somebody who's been out in the ring for so long.
Well, that's the name of the game now, to get him in the ring, to keep getting him in training, getting rounds. His last fight, as I've said on numerous occasions, he trained to make the weight. He got rid of 8 stone fairly quickly, and that's quite draining. He did that. He's still got maybe 1.5, 2 to get rid of. So time he gets into this fight, I'm hoping rather than training to make weight, he'll be training for a fight. And we're looking at 3 opponents, which I'm going to discuss with him, and then we'll hopefully announce that sometime within the next week or so.
What type of ilk of opponent are you going to be looking at? Sefer Seferi attracted quite a bit of criticism. There wasn't the most competitive of fights. I know it was never billed to be a 50-50 fight, but who are you looking to bring in for Tyson in this match?
Well, I expected more from Seferi. I didn't expect him to quit on his stall. And I made it very clear from the beginning. He'll have a few fights to get himself back in the game, having been out of the ring for nearly 3 years. I'm looking for somebody who hopefully we get some rounds out of. That's what the name of the game. He needs rounds. He needs to be in that ring. He needs rounds. He needs to get himself back into a position where when he fights for a title, that he's not just mentally. I mean, mentally he'd fight for a title tomorrow, but where he's physically capable of winning the title. So he's a couple of fights off of that, and I just want to keep him busy. So he's busy. He's on this card. He's a special attraction on the card, and as I say, I'm looking at guys it's not about size. It's not about, you know, whether somebody's 6'6" or 6'4" or whatever. It's about trying to get somebody who's going to get some rounds under his belt. That's what we're looking for.
Now, of course, I'd imagine it's far too complicated a deal first and foremost, or maybe not the right time, but Tony Bellew is somebody that you mentioned in the immediate aftermath of the Sefer fight. I just interviewed Tyson Fury. He said he's not interested in that fight. What are your views on that?
I didn't know that. I mean, for me, I think the fight would be a no-brainer, but let's see what happens. I mean, you know, not right this moment, but certainly by the end of the year, it's a fight that I certainly would like to put together. But at the end of the day, it's up to Tyson and it's up to Bellew whether they want it. Bellew says he wants it. I don't know whether he does or he doesn't. Lot of talk going on, but by the end of the year, that's the sort of fight that Tyson should be having.
Paddy Barnes challenges for the WBC Flyweight title against Christopher Rosales. Just talk to our fans a little bit about what Christopher Rosales is like for those who may not know. Obviously, he won the title against Diego Higa, who was an unbeaten, very, very good fighter. How dangerous a fight is that for Paddy Barnes, and do you feel he can come through?
I think it's a dangerous fight for Paddy Barnes. Again, it was an upset. He went into that fight as a big underdog and upset the champion and came away with a prize. We managed to get him to bring him over here. For Paddy, it's a tough fight. It's not an easy fight. He's only had 5 pro fights. It's a bit of a step up, and it'd be history if he does it. You know, and there isn't an Irish fighter that's won a world title after, you know, in their 6 fights. It's never happened before. So I'm looking forward to a bit of history being made. You know, Paddy's got a vast amount of amateur experience. He's done everything that's been asked of him, and I think that'll stand him in good stead for this fight. And he just wants to be challenged. Since he's been with us, all he's talked about is having the big fight. Well, we've delivered, and we delivered it in a fantastic location. So it's going to be like a cockpit on the night. Once you've got those ringside seats on the pitch, it's going to be some atmosphere here. So hopefully the Irish eyes will be smiling at the end of the night, and Paddy and Carl will be in a good position.
Where else are we standing on the undercard? I understand obviously we're a couple of months away. Have you got any thoughts of bringing anybody else onto the show?
There will be other fights. There's some competitive fights that will be announced in due course, which we'll do over the next few weeks. You know, we don't want to be doing that all today, otherwise it's too much for everybody to take in. But we will be doing it over the next few weeks.
Moving away from this card, Martin Murray in action this weekend.
Yeah.
Not the card that we were expecting, I think it's fair to say.
We're all disappointed. You know, Bill's disappointed. I know Martin was very, very frustrated and disappointed. But, you know, it's we've done the best we can do. We found someone. We obviously wanted to keep him on the card. I like Martin. He's a true warrior. And we've gone out and found a guy who's a decent fighter. So, you know, it's not an easy fight for him. It's a silver belt. But if he wins it, it'll get him into the number 1 spot. So that's where we're at.
What can you tell me about Billy Joe Saunders' injury? Obviously, the cynics among boxing fans, we've all been around the sport for a long time, point to the fact that there was the Canelo-Golovkin situation. Tom Loeffler, Gennady Golovkin's promoter, said that there was a deal in principle to take place in August if the fight wasn't signed with Canelo. What can you tell us about that? Well,
Bill's never going to be ready to fight in August at all. Bill's, you know, he's injured. He won't be out until September at the earliest. It's a fact of life. There's a lot of rumours. We got some calls from Tom Loeffler. I've also been speaking to somebody else, and we'll be announcing his fight, his next fight in due course. But it's all very premature to talk about him and that fight taking place then. You know, and certainly we there's no way which we felt you're going to be used as a stalking horse to make sure the Canelo-Golovkin fight happened. You know, we've been there, done that, and we weren't going to be put in that position again. So we've sort of had our plans mapped up. Obviously, we was hoping that he'd beat Martin, and I've said that from the beginning because obviously Bill's been meeting day one. If he'd beat Martin, it'd been out again in September in a big fight. He's got a big fight in September. I've in principle agreed terms for a fight now, and that's what we'll do. What can you tell me about your relationship with Martin Murray? Obviously had some things to say in the build-up to this, then the injury. He's been very vocal. He's not happy with Billy Joe Saunders. After this Saturday, where does that leave your relationship going forward? Well, I want to keep on promoting him. He's a nice guy. I mean, we've moved heaven and earth to keep him on the card. I mean, we could have stayed with what we had and sort of let him go, but that was not the case. I don't like seeing guys in 2 training camps and nothing happens. It's not fair on them. It's not fair on the fans who've booked tickets, booked hotel rooms. It's not fair on us. We booked the venue. We paid for it. We didn't book a 20,000 seat venue to put a small show on. We put it for a special show. So we've done the best we can. We've delivered for Martin, and we will continue to do so if he keeps winning.
With Billy Joe, I mean, I understand it must be frustrating, but do you think there's a risk of him undoing sort of the momentum that he gained with that performance against David Lemieux at the back end of last year?
Look, I hope that's not going to be the case. He's got to be busy. He's got to come out. It's unfortunate he's had the injury. He's been one of those guys who had a few injuries over the years, and it has been unfortunate. But you can't fight if you're not 100%. It's as simple as that. So, when he's 100%, and I'm hoping that's going to be September, he'll be out in September, and then continue with the momentum, as you say, that he built up and the credibility he built up after taking David Lemieux to school.
Another fight that was scheduled for this weekend that hasn't happened, Josh Lever versus Ohara Davies. What can you tell me about that? As I understand, Josh Lever has taken a break from boxing, is that correct?
He had a medical problem, so he can't box at the moment. Boxing Board of Control have quite rightly said that he can't box while there's some investigations going on as to what has transpired over the last few weeks as regarding his physical health.
What can you tell me about Ohara's opponent, Kamenga? He's fighting for, I think it was the WBC International title.
I mean, he's not a bad fighter. That's going to be a decent fight. Ohara's got to keep busy. He can't take his eye off the ball. Everybody's, looking at bigger fights. But you know what? The only fight you've got to look at is the one that you got in front of you. That's the most important one. Don't overlook that. And I'm quite sure O'Hara's professional enough not to do that. So, I think him and Jack Catterall now looks like it's going to be a big fight down the line, and that's what we're working on. But they've got to keep winning the pair of them. Jack Catterall's got a tough fight in Belfast the following week on the 30th. It's a tough fight for him. He comes through that. Him and O'Hara's a huge fight, and that's what we're looking to make.
Are you looking to make that fight, or is there a chance that either one of those guys could possibly challenge Maurice Hooker, who we obviously saw win the world title against Terry Flanagan?
Well, if that could be done, it'd be done. Obviously making these fights is the name of the game. But if it can't, then maybe we can make that fight as an eliminator for that title. We'll see. Terry Flanagan wants a rematch, but unfortunately he had 30 odd stitches in that fight. That sort of 14 months of inactivity, I didn't think did him any favours. And he just didn't get his tactics right on the night. It was unfortunate. A very close fight. I thought some of the judging was appalling, but he's got to get back in the game. Although I say though, 30 odd stitches, he's going to be out for a little while though.
Just lastly on that card, Anthony Yarde, his opponent, Sek. For some reason, his first name has escaped me. I admit I have not seen him fight. He's attracted some criticism for the choice of opponent. What do you make of that?
Well, the criticism is because, I don't know what the criticism is about. This is a guy who's, what's he had now, 14 or 15 pro fights and 12 amateur fights. I've made it very clear. This is a southpaw. It's another what I'd call another learning experience fight for him. Get him through that, and then we'll be stepping up. And I've said, regarding, Buatsis and the Hosea Burtons and the Callum Johnsons. They're with another promoter, they're with Matchroom. Let them make those fights. They can make those fights like that. They can offer them huge money now for those fights. Those guys can get big purses fighting each other. Then the winner can fight Anthony in a massive fight, a big fight. So let's see the best of those three odds to fight my guy. Big fight. And, they offered, it's no secret, they offered huge money to, well, I say huge money, reasonable money, six-figure sum for Anthony to fight Buatsi or Callum Johnson, whoever it was going to be, either of them. Here, guys, your promoter's offering that money. You get some of that money. You go and grab some of that money from Matchroom, fight each other. They're easy fights to make, and we'll fight the winner.
With Anthony Yarde, I like Anthony Yarde. I was in the gym with him a couple of weeks ago. I understand he has this very limited amateur background, but he has made great strides in a professional career. Do you think there's any risk of him stagnating? He does hold a very high ranking with the WBO, and if he's seemingly past domestic level, should he be looking to bridge that gap to be challenging for world honours?
He should do, but it's like all big punchers. Big punchers get rid of guys very quickly, and what you want them to do is they get experience. And it's very difficult because it doesn't matter who they hit them, they go. And that's the type of fighter he is. He can take a guy. He needs a little bit more experience. I was offered a world title fight for him. I said, no, he's not ready for that. He needs a couple more fights. This guy's going to have to bring something else, being a southpaw, so it's going to be, it's going to be a tough fight for him. It's going to be, a different experience for him. So I want to see him come through. He just needs that little bit more experience, and then we'll let him go. Anyone can fight for a world title. I can make him a world title fight. I want him to win the world title and go on to defend it. Not just say, he's fighting for the world title just to please a lot of people. I want him to win a world title, and he needs a little bit more experience, and then he'll be ready to go.
As I've said to you in the past, you'll be happy to know I'm an avid subscriber of Box Nation. As I understand, there are some changes to the channel. Can you talk me through that as a subscriber to your channel for a long time?
I can I can do that for you by the end of the week. Next interview, we can go through that because there's a meeting taking place this week as to what's going to be. There's a lot of live domestic fights going to be on there. There's a lot of other stuff, and it's going to, the format's been changed a bit, but more news from that in the week.
Okay, and just finally, Frank, sum up this card. What can fans expect to see when tuning in on August the 18th to watch Carl Frampton versus Luke Jackson, to also watch Paddy Barnes versus Christopher Rosales, and of course the returning Gypsy King, well, not the returning Gypsy King, his second fight of his comeback, Tyson Fury?
What can they expect? Carl Frampton's dream to fight in the big stadium in Northern Ireland, in Belfast. Against a guy who's not coming to sit on the floor, coming to win. It's a fight that he needs to win to get him in a position to fight Josh Warrington. Paddy Barnes in a history-making fight as an Irish boxer. He's only had 5 fights, as we mentioned before. Can he win a world title in 6th fight? That would be history against a good quality fighter who went and upset a big upset when he beat Giga. And then obviously the big man himself coming here and will be announcing his opponent. And other good fights that we're about to announce.
Okay, well, we wait with bated breath. Frank Warren, as always, it's a pleasure catching up with you.
Thank you, Rob, and we look forward to it. And to all your viewers and subscribers on Boxing Social.
Thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social, Frank.
Cheers, mate. It's a pleasure.